Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my channel. I am doing a whole video on homemaking today. There is lots of sourdough baking and some laundry, folding and getting all that done, and there's also some cleaning, and I'm making breakfast. So there's just so much in today's video that I really hope that you will enjoy it. But right now I am going to start feeding my sourdough starter, and I've already said this before in my last video, but pretty much you just measure it out in grams and then double the portion of flour and water, whatever like your starter begins with. So usually mine is always like 210 or something like that, and so if it is, then I will just do 210 of water and 210 of flour. Well, while I am cleaning my jars that my sourdough goes inside of, I do want to just ask, how are you doing? How has your weekend been? Have you had any fun plans? I just would really love to hear from you guys, and obviously I love knowing how you all are doing. And I also want to know if you have been enjoying this type of video. I know that this is my second video doing kind of homemaking kind of style of a video where I'm making bread and all that, but this one I did decide to change it up a little bit and put some cleaning and laundry motivation into it while I also cook. So yeah, I just really hope that you enjoy this video today. It is pretty different, but I kind of want to get into like this new rhythm of these kind of videos because I really do enjoy them, and I love baking bread for my family. It's just so much better than going and buying it. It saves a lot of money during the month, so I just have really been enjoying it, and I hope that you have as well. So I originally was planning on just filming a laundry motivation video, but when I went upstairs to go look for some bread so I could make some lunch with it, I realized that we were all out of bread, and so I did switch out my schedule and just started like thinking of like, oh, I can do a homemaking video and just put all of the chores inside that video where I make bread and I do a couple of other things that need to be done, like cleaning, breakfast, grocery list, and laundry, and just all the above. So that is why I am doing this kind of video today, and again, I really hope that you enjoy it. This video does take place for 2 days because bread baking is just such a long process. It's a great process. It's fun, it's exciting, and it just honestly feels so great to make your own bread, to see what you can create from scratch. But it really does take a long time, and it is a huge process. And I only made 3 loaves of bread, and it still took me 2 days, and honestly it wouldn't have really taken me any longer if I made like 6 loaves of bread. It just would have taken longer to bake them all because they all take their own individual time baking, but it really is just a fun but long process. Now that my jars filled with my sourdough are fed and they are ready to start rising on their own, I am going to go into the laundry room and start doing laundry. I did only have one load to put in the washer and dryer and wash, but I knew I needed to get done just so we had extra clothes and all of our laundry would be done before the weekend. And then on the floor below the dryer, I did have a pile of clothes that needed to be folded. They have been sitting in the laundry room for almost a week. That is just real life. I just have not gotten to it. We have been so busy and life gets in the way of some chores, just like everyone. Some things just aren't a main priority, like laundry. So now I am finally getting to it and starting to fold, but it did take a while. And honestly, I hate doing laundry. I used to love it when we didn't have so much to do, but now that my son is older and he goes through clothes like 20 times a day, and so do I because I do have a toddler, it is a hassle and it is not fun. So it just is not on my priority list, but I knew that it needed to be done now since it already has been almost a week. Now I am headed upstairs to the kitchen and I am just going to start cleaning up and washing some dishes and then wiping down the counters, filling up the flour because I knew I would need more flour when I actually start preparing my bread. And so that is just what I did before I started breakfast. But after I clean up the kitchen and everything is done, then I am going to start breakfast for my family. What time do you start breakfast? Do you in the mornings start it right away before anybody is awake and it's just you, and so you can just focus on making food for you and your family? Or do you like to just slowly go into the morning where you clean up the kitchen, get some chores done, go outside, enjoy the fresh air, sip on your coffee, or what do you normally do? Do you like to get ready, take a nice shower, and then get ready and go downstairs? Or wait until everyone's awake to start breakfast? For my family, I normally do it different every single day pretty much. Some mornings I wake up later and I do breakfast later in the morning, or some mornings I start on it right away. Some mornings, like in this video, I do chores and clean up the kitchen before I start breakfast. I feed my sourdough. Some mornings is just totally different, and it also just depends on all of our moods in the morning, like if we're super hungry or if we can kind of wake up before eating breakfast. Just it all depends on how we are all feeling. For breakfast, I knew I had this loaf of bread. This was literally all we had left, and I knew I wanted to put some butter on it and toast it up. And for my son, he loves those hash brown patties, so I always make him a couple of hash brown patties. And then for like the toast, that's just for mom and dad, so I knew that we would want that. And we also had 2 slices left of provolone, and so I did put provolone on one side and toast that into the bread, and it was so delicious. And then we also just had some scrambled eggs. I did scramble up 6 eggs because my son, eggs have always, since we started feeding him solids, so probably like at 8 months, and he is 2.5 or 2. He's somewhere in there. He's 2 for sure, but not like on the lower side of 2. But he has always loved eggs, so I do like to cook up a lot of eggs, and some days scrambled eggs are just super easy, and so I just always go for scrambled eggs, even though my favorite eggs are over easy. They are so delicious, but I wanted to do some scrambled eggs and then some avocado. He also loves avocado, and it was just such a yummy breakfast. Sometimes I do also love to add some mini cucumbers and bell peppers and saute up the bell peppers and put them on top. And same with, like, some days I like tomatoes with some olive oil and balsamic oil. It just honestly depends some days when we have those items and if I feel like making a lot. But this morning it was perfect, it was yummy, and it was super easy to make. I did also pour us some fruit juice to sip on while we ate breakfast, and my son loved it so much that I actually got more when I went to the grocery store because it was just so delicious and perfect for breakfast mornings. And so after I delivered this and dropped it off to my son and my fiance downstairs, I did sit down at the dining table and watched one of my favorite ladies on YouTube and just relaxed. And I also got some grocery listing, like I wrote down my grocery list so I could prepare for the next day, because that's normally on Fridays when we go grocery shopping, and I love to have a grocery list so I'm not lost and confused, because I don't know if you feel like this, but if I do not have a grocery list and I don't see what I need, I buy random things and I don't get anything that I need, and I'm so lost and I'm so confused, and it's just a total fail. So I do always have to have a grocery list. This week, while you are watching this, I am filming another video and I am doing lots of summer foods, like breakfast summer foods and lunch summer foods and dinner summer foods. So I was trying to get some good inspiration and like just try to find yummy recipes on Pinterest. Pinterest is one of my best friends. They always have like the best things on Pinterest. So I needed to look on there just so I could get some good inspo. After I got done writing down the grocery list and that was all finished and ready for tomorrow, I did go downstairs and started moving the clothes that were in the washer to the dryer. But my little helper, he followed me into the laundry room, and yes, he was not wearing pants, so I did put on some pants for him so he could help me throw some of the clothes into the dryer. He is so helpful and he always loves helping mom do the chores. He loves helping me wipe the counters and sweep the floor and vacuum and also put the laundry in the washer and dryer. He loves that so much. So of course I'm going to let him help me and of course push the buttons. Now it is time for the best part. My sourdough is finally starting to rise. This is all sped up. It took forever for it to finally rise, but these are like the best clips. And of course now, since my sourdough has risen, I am going to start making my bread, where I mix my sourdough starter, some flour, salt, and water. And in my last video, I gave you all the measurements, so if you are interested and you have not seen that video, you are more than welcome to go watch that one. But it's a very simple process. But after you do all of that, you mix it and then you have to set it to rise again, and sometimes it takes 6 to 8 hours, so it's best to leave it overnight in the fridge like I did. You will see soon. I left it overnight in the fridge so that the next morning I could finally let them come to room temperature and then throw them in the oven and bake. But it just would have taken too long if I would have stayed awake until like 2 a.m. waiting to bake my bread. So I just decided to go the other way and put them in the fridge so that I could do it the next morning. Also, just so you can see, your hands get so gross when you have to do this because you have to mix the sourdough with your hands, and it's super sticky, so it does get gross, but it rinses off just fine with some lukewarm water and soap. So it's totally fine, but it is kind of gross for a minute. I do also want to mention that there are 4 30-minute intervals where you have to stretch and fold your sourdough, and so that takes a total of 2 hours as well before you can throw it in the fridge to sit overnight. So while I am waiting for the first 30 minutes, I am going to go downstairs and grab the clean laundry that I have been doing throughout this video and fold it and put it with the rest of the laundry that I've already folded. Now that all of the laundry is done and folded, it is time to go upstairs and do my first stretch and fold, and it roughly takes like 2 minutes to just stretch and fold all of your doughs. That is if like you have more than 3 or whatever, but if you only have 1, then it takes like 2 seconds. But make sure you just stretch and fold it on each side. Do not tear it, do not rip it, be very gentle, and then just cover it up once again. On the last stretch and fold, I do place them into the Banneton bowls. Those are like they're like an oval circle different looking bowl. You'll see them here soon, but I think they are called Banneton. I'm not 100% sure. I did look it up, and I think that's how you say it, but I did flour them before I put them in. For some reason they still stuck in the bowl even after I floured them. Sometimes they come out very smooth, but this time they just did not. But I put them in there so that they could rise in those bowls, and I could also put them in the fridge and they would not be super big. I also did leave them to rise a little bit in these bowls, not too much because I was going to put them in the fridge, but I did leave them out for like another 30 minutes and then I did put them in the fridge overnight. It is now the next morning and I did pull out the doughs out of the fridge and checked on them. They were pretty cold and I wanted them to get to luke temperature and also rise a little bit, and throughout the house it was already pretty cold, so I did have to move them outside and they did rise a little bit more outside. But they were still in the house right here. I just needed to get caught up on these dishes, and during the night I did let them rest with some dish soap and hot water, so then in the morning I could just clean them and then put them away. And so that is just what I am doing. But while I did some other things, I did put them outside and leave them outside for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and some of them did rise, but this one I am just starting right now. It has been like a few hours, but obviously because of editing it did not look like that. But this one like took like 2.5 hours till I put it in the oven. But of course I am flouring the parchment paper. I already started the oven with my Dutch oven in there to warm up, and I am taking it out of the bowl now and ready to score it. But I did want to reshape it because like I said, it was sticking to the bowl, and maybe that is because it was in the fridge overnight and so it like cooled and hardened, so that might be the reason, but I don't know. I do want to point out though, while it was still cold and a little bit more firm when it was cold, it was much more easy to score in shape, and I liked that a lot more. I think that it turned out much more pretty and just had better lines since I did it while it was still firm and cold. Now it is time to bake, and with the second loaf I will just repeat this process of like baking it and scoring it and shaping it and all of that fun stuff. So you'll just see a repeat, and then when we get to the loaf I will butter up the pan and put the loaf in there and then bake it again. I am honestly so proud of these loaves. They turned out so beautiful and of course so tasty. We did end up eating already one loaf just because it's been so delicious and so yummy. I am cleaning up the kitchen and wiping down the counters once again since there was flour all over the kitchen counters. So I did want to clean that up and wipe it down before I went to go get groceries. And then I also did sweep up the floor because the floor was a huge mess with all the flour and crumbs and parchment paper. There was just so much everywhere. So I wanted to tidy that up and clean it up because it was kind of driving me nuts. Well, my lovely friends, this is it for today's video. All the breads are done and baked and they all turned out so yummy. I am of course buttering up that loaf because it always just makes it so much better, but I am just so happy that I made this video and we got so much done that I really need to get caught up on and get done. And again, I really hope that you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. That always helps my channel and helps my videos out and lets me know that you liked it. And then also subscribe to my channel, and you can also follow my Instagram, Our Little Bloom. But I will see you all again next time. Bye, friends.